Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're here today because we're looking at a concept that literally flips traditional home construction totally on its head. Instead of just stressing over the initial price tag of a build, we're going to explore how you can design a home that actively works to save you money day after day, year after year. It sounds kind of like a dream, right? Can a home actually pay for its own energy costs? Well, by the time we wrap up today, you'll see exactly how that's not only possible, but highly practical. We are breaking down 10 core design principles that turn your upfront construction costs into massive long-term ROI. And to show you exactly how this works in the real world, we'll be using the renowned design build firm Letter 4 and their Los Angeles projects as our prime case study. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We've got 6 clear themes to get through. Unlocking passive house design, the ultimate building envelope, mastering air and temperature, harnessing the sun, tech and renewable energy, and finally, maximizing long-term ROI.
So let's kick things off with Section 1, Unlocking Passive House Design.
So what is this exactly? Basically, passive house design is a building standard that prioritizes dramatic energy reduction, ultimate indoor comfort, and a much lower carbon footprint. What's fascinating is that this concept was actually born in the freezing winters of Germany. But applying these exact same standards in a sun-baked place like Los Angeles is pretty much the ultimate secret weapon for slashing those notoriously high summer cooling bills. Moving right along to Section 2, the ultimate building envelope.
Now, what's really interesting here is how the first 4 of our principles work together as a cohesive system. We're talking high-performance insulation, airtight construction, advanced windows, and thermal bridge-free engineering, which, by the way, just means stopping heat from sneaking in through the wooden or metal studs inside your walls. When you look at the upfront costs compared to the payback period, it's pretty wild. You might invest, say, $10,000 to $20,000 in advanced windows, but the compounding returns through massive energy savings mean you entirely pay off those upgrades in roughly 5 to 12 years. And after that, it's pure profit.
Let's isolate that first principle for a second. High-performance insulation alone, using dense packed cellulose or spray foam, can reduce your heating and cooling costs by up to 40%. To put that into perspective, in a place like LA, where long, hot summers mean your AC is basically working overtime, a 40% reduction is an absolute game changer for your wallet month after month.
And that builds perfectly into principle number 4, your windows and doors. Look, traditional windows leak heat like a total sieve. But passive house compliant triple pane windows with low E coatings, they change the game completely. They let all that beautiful natural light in, but literally block the solar heat gain. Plus, as a huge bonus if you live in a noisy urban area, they give you incredible sound insulation, so your home stays perfectly quiet and cool.
All right, Section 3, Mastering Air and Temperature.
Here's the thing. Living in a perfectly airtight home without ventilation would be a lot like breathing inside a plastic bag. Not great. So you rely on Principle 5, Heat and Energy Recovery Ventilation Systems, or HRVs and ERVs. These systems continuously circulate fresh, filtered air from the outside, but here's the genius part. They do it without losing the heat or coolness of your indoor air. An ERV system is absolutely perfect for LA's humid fall and winter months, managing both heat and moisture while drastically reducing the workload on your AC. The crucial takeaway here is that these systems recover up to 90% of the energy from your exhaust air. You're essentially recycling your own climate control. This single principle drops your overall energy expenses by another 15 to 20%. And honestly, it typically pays for its own installation cost in just 5 to 7 years. Let's keep the momentum going with Section 4, Harnessing the Sun.
This covers our next 3 principles, and the potential savings here are just staggering. Proper passive solar orientation alone can save you 30% on heating and cooling. Then add optimized solar shading, like overhangs or louvers that block out brutal summer heat but welcome in the gentle winter light. That gets you another 20%. And finally, utilizing thermal mass. That means using materials like concrete or stone that absorb heat and slowly release it over time. That saves you yet another 10%.
But what's truly amazing is how you actually achieve that massive 30% savings from orientation. Letter 4 uses advanced 3D BIM software like Revit during the very first phases of design to map out the solar angles and orient the home perfectly on the lot. Because the whole shebang is mapped out digitally before a single shovel even hits the dirt, achieving that lifetime energy savings often comes with absolutely zero extra construction cost, which is just incredible. Moving into Section 5, Tech in Renewable Energy.
So, how do we power this highly efficient machine we've just built? By integrating low-energy LED lighting, super efficient appliances, and solar photovoltaic panels, you can push a passive house right into net zero territory. That means the home generates as much energy as it consumes over the entire year. Now, sure, solar panels require an upfront investment of $10,000 to $25,000, but when you combine them with tax incentives and rebates of up to 30%, it becomes incredibly viable. You can completely wipe out your electricity bill, generate $1,000 to $2,000 in annual savings, all while massively boosting the resale value of your property.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 6, maximizing long-term ROI. So how do you actually execute all of this successfully in the real world?
Well, this brilliantly illustrates Letter 4's streamlined design-build approach. Pulling off passive house standards requires absolute precision. By combining architects and contractors under one roof, you move flawlessly from the initial action plan and feasibility studies straight through to engineering, material selection, and final construction. There's no disconnect between the person drawing the airtight envelope and the person physically sealing it on site. It ensures these complex systems actually perform exactly as promised.
And remember, true sustainability can go even further than the 10 principles we just went over. Things like gray water systems, which reuse your shower and sink water for irrigation, alongside xeriscape landscaping that requires almost zero water, well, they're total game changers. They protect our natural environment, and just as importantly, they protect your wallet by driving those utility bills even closer to absolute zero. So we arrive at the ultimate question you have to ask yourself. Will your next home build constantly cost you money over its lifetime, or will it actively pay you back? By leveraging high-performance insulation, smart ventilation, and the sun's natural energy, a passive house design ensures it's the latter. If you are ready to explore exactly how these principles fit your budget and goals, checking out a customized action plan with a firm like Letter 4 is the perfect first step. Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer today, and I really hope this changes the way you look at the real value of a well-designed home.